Hello, it's Becky Prater. Okay, so welcome and thank you so much for joining me. Thank you wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning into this. My name is Becky Prater. Like I said, I'm an energy healer, author, educator, life transformation coach, and a newly dedicated meditator. So here we are today talking about meditation. And, I've been in the spirituality business for actually quite a long time. I've been on the spiritual journey since probably eighth grade. And what, like, I have meditated many times in my life. Like I've done it for years and years and years, and I understand it, and I knew it, and I learned it, and all that. But I just didn't do it, and I had all kinds of excuses for why I didn't do it until recently. And so I hear people all the time, like really spiritual people that are on this path and doing a lot of great things. And I say, well, do you meditate? And so often I hear people say no, and they all have like these excuses. Not saying, I mean, I did. So yes. Okay. So what I want you to know first is you know the answers. We're talking about accessing inner wisdom. You know the answers is what people hear, what I used to hear. The answers are in you. You know what's best for you. The Greeks said, know thyself. Well, it's not always easy to do that. It's not always easy to know. Do you really know you? Why? I don't know. Like, mostly, aren't we made up of the things we've heard, what people say, what we've learned, our subconscious programming? What is the true you? How do you really feel? What is the truth for you? So, meditation and its various forms help us understand or know thyself, help us tap into our inner awareness and our answers. It's so amazing. So, today we're going to talk about the misconceptions of meditation, the truths, the benefits, and the various ways to meditate. And in the end, toward the end, I'm going to take you through a meditation called the Many Use meditation. And it's quite a healing process, feels really good. And I'll give you access to that meditation. Okay, so here's some misconceptions. Meditation is a process of turning off the mind. Misconceptions, turning off the mind. Sitting in a cross-legged position for hours, being still and quiet, you have to empty the mind. Meditation puts you at ease. There's a right and a wrong way to do it. Meditation is just a relaxation technique. It's going into a trance. Meditation's against my religion. I've heard that a lot. I have to stop for this one because this is so significant. Actually, there's a form of meditation in almost all religions. So it's not really against a religion. It is a practice that is beautiful and actually taps into. Okay, so when you pray, it's kind of like asking God for something. And I believe meditating is like listening to God for an answer. One, you are asking and giving it, hey, I would like this. The other is more of a receiving space. Meditation is about receiving. Actually, mostly, I could say that pretty significantly. Okay, here's another couple. Meditation is like escaping reality. I've heard of people saying, oh, I don't have the luxury of spending that much time on myself. I'm way too busy. I made these excuses. So I know that this is what people say. Okay, so in 2017, I went to this retreat center down in Costa Rica, and the theme of the week was meditation. And there was a guy named Ben Decker. I never heard of him, but I was like, meditation, I totally need to do more of that. So I went down there, and if you're a guest speaker at this place, you've pretty much made it in the world and probably make a lot of money doing what you do. So here I am with this Ben Decker, and he teaches meditation in LA at a couple of different places. He is the meditation guru for Elon Musk. How cool is that? He's one of my heroes. He and Ben has at this point written a whole bunch of books on the subject. So he really knows what he's talking about. Okay, so I had no idea who he was. So we were sitting around the pool, and I was talking to him because there weren't very many people there at the time, and had just so many good conversations. And so these are the stupid things I said. Oh, my mind moves too fast to quiet it down. Like my mind moving fast is something that I really love about myself. So why would I want to slow it down through meditation? Yeah, I'm not kidding. These are some of the things I said. The minute I start, my mind floods with ideas. So I have to write it down and then move on to the next thing. So I don't know, gets me all excited about doing something. So then I jump up and do it. I fall asleep when I meditate and my head bobs. If you've ever meditated, that's happened to you like that, and it wakes you up. Kind of like being on the plane and you fall asleep and then you wake yourself up. So annoying. And I kind of figured it must not be working if that's what's happening. Okay, I usually then lay down because I fall asleep and my head bobs, and I hate it when that happens because it wakes me up and it's a mess. Okay, so I have found that writing and journaling feels like it does the same thing, satisfies the same need. So these are the things I said. And then Ben said, after listening to me for probably a half an hour making stupid excuses, he said, and then you will meditate and it will change everything. So it did. Right after that, it was August 2017. I've actually been meditating with the rigor ever since. Now, when I settle in and my mind, my mind floods with ideas and reminders of the things I have to do. And so I write them down on a nearby piece of paper and I give gratitude to the ideas and the reminders. And and then I get back to meditating because and it's okay. I allow this to be okay. And that feels good. So I start with an intention and trust that where it takes me is exactly what I need at that moment, even if it means my head bobs as though I'm falling asleep, which happens still. Okay, so what happens in meditation? For me, it sometimes my head bobs and I have no recollection of what happens. Sometimes I'm taken places. And this is kind of in 5D or wherever I'm going, 1111D. I'm going to the field of all possibilities. Sometimes I feel like I become a dragon or a whale and do what whales and dragons do. Sometimes I have a conversation with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. That's really cool. Often I have a conversation with my higher self. That probably happens more often than not. Sometimes I'm directed to heal people, help people pass and transmute dark energies. And I generally know when this is happening because I'm guided to lay down in my meditation, which I don't do because I feel like I'm going to fall asleep and I'm going to miss the whole thing. But sometimes I'm guided to actually lay down because my intention then needs to be to heal somebody or help them pass or transmute dark energies. It's pretty fantastic. So some truths about meditation. You can meditate anywhere. So imagine if somebody, you're in a business meeting, maybe not that. Let's say somebody asks you, what are you going to do about this in your work? And you don't know. And instead of saying, well, shoot, I don't know. Instead, you might say, let me think about that for a minute. I'll get right back to you. And you go into your office and you quiet your mind and you sit there for a second and you just think. Actually, maybe you just don't allow yourself even to think. You just allow your mind to work through that and come up with an answer. I witnessed somebody doing that on a film set one time. The director was asked a question. He said, let me step over here and meditate on that for a minute. So the guy literally left the set and went and sat on the front stoop of the building and sat there and then came back calmly and had a really good idea or a good answer for that. That's it. It's as easy as that. You can do it in a minute. The basic idea is to tune inward. Because when you think about it, all this is going on. There's so much input. And if you just tune in, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And you get all kinds of information. Okay, so the one thing that we almost always do every time in meditation, we tune into the breath or notice the breathing. It's the fastest way to tune inward is to take a big breath and follow it. Just notice it. Where's that coming? Is it a shallow breath that's just what's going on right now? And then what we can do is slow that breath and be fully present in that moment in meditation. I mean, you don't even have to be setting out to do an hour meditation to go somewhere. You can just say, oh my God, things are so stressful. I'm going to take a big breath. I'm going to sit here for a second and be more fully present in whatever it is I'm doing. Okay, finding stillness or at least trying. We are not a still society. We are not trained to be this. We don't even value that. Stillness? Are you kidding me? If I was ever still at my parents' house, they would throw some job at me and, make me do chores. So we are not trained to be still. But there are times when it's really important for us to be still. Okay. So the nature of meditation, it is an inward process, like I said. Once you get to that inner core of your being through meditation, all sorts of things can happen. And maybe you don't necessarily need anything to happen. Maybe you just need to sit and be still. And that is lovely. And that's a one kind of meditation. So let's try that. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute and just be in that space and breathe. Notice your breath. So just notice it. It doesn't even have to be a big breath, but notice how it is. And then breathe deeper and notice where it goes. Does it go into your belly? Does it go into your heart? Notice the sounds around you. Notice the way your clothes feel on your body. Notice the chair and the floor under you, supporting your weight. Notice how you feel in this space for just 1 minute. Then go ahead and open your eyes and just know that that is meditation. It's as simple as that. It's as beautiful as that. What's so cool about that particular type of meditation, that moment, is that by noticing, you're giving your left brain a job. So you're not calling it to be still. You're not asking it to be still and not notice anything. You're actually asking it to notice how you feel and notice yourself. It's a great way to begin. You're, because the left brain is the monkey mind and it's hopping around. And so, rather than just sitting, letting it do whatever it wants to do, you're noticing your space. You're noticing your body. You're noticing your clothing and the sounds. It's amazing. And the longer you notice, the more the left brain relaxes and can settle into a more subconscious right brain space. So when your left mind settles, you have access to your right brain or your subconscious, which is where most of your answers lie, or your real truth. Okay. So there's lots of different things or ways or purposes for meditation. So you might notice how you are one with the environment. So say you're out on a walk by yourself or on a hike, and you just decide to sit for a second and meditate in nature. Notice nature around you and your oneness with it. All around you, notice above and below, all sides. Notice people walking by. Notice if you hear any animals. Just notice. Like, the cool thing is you can do this because your left brain wants a job and you're giving it a job by noticing. And just by being in that space, the longer you notice, it really does it like easy. Your left brain your left brain calms down, and you just eventually notice that you've been sitting there a long time and whoa, time has passed, and you're relaxed and you're one with nature. So cool. You want to, like, you can tune into how you're feeling about something. If you're all messed up, and like right now we're feeling so many feelings that we have a hard time understanding. And so what happens to us when we tune in and ask our body or notice how our body's feeling? We get answers. We can understand it. It's so amazing. Recognize where in your body you are holding the energy of something. Notice that notice that energy. So, like, say, oh, you're so frustrated and you don't know why, and you sit down and you close your eyes and you're noticing, like, oh my gosh, my heart hurts. Oh, that's where I'm feeling it. Or my stomach hurts. Or Oh, I've got this weird thing in my shoulder. Just notice that space and allow yourself to hold it in love and acceptance. Just visualize yourself holding that space, and eventually it loosens up and lets go because it's being noticed. And most of the things that happen in our body are there to tell us something, like give us a message. So when we hold it and notice it and witness it, it unravels. It's like, oh, thank you for noticing. It's pretty cool. Like that's simple. That's like those are simple things that you can do in meditation. It's so, so, so sweet. So here's another one that I think is really powerful. It's the idea of asking your heart a question and then listening to the answer. So we're going to do this. So I'm going to describe it and then we're going to do it. So you're going to ask your heart a question. You're going to be brief, ask a single sentence, be direct and concise, and it has to be personal. You can't say, "Oh, is John going to call me?" Because that's not what we're asking. You might ask, "How do I feel about John?" or whatever. Is he the right guy for me? Or whatever it is, but it has to be like a personal question. Then you're going to listen for the answer. We're going to sit in meditation for a sec. You're going to listen for the answer. The answers are usually very brief, direct, and concise. Could be one word answers. Surprisingly so. They're objective, non judgmental. They feel right, but they're also sometimes really surprising because you might have an idea of how you think you're going to answer, and it might not be that way. You know your answers, but your inside voice sometimes has a different answer for you. And of course, sometimes you don't know your answers, but that inner voice, if you listen, it knows. Okay, so settle in. Again, this only takes a minute. We're going to do it for a minute. So you're going to ask your heart a question. So just stop for a sec and breathe into your heart space. So you're going to breathe 5 in, 5 out. Breathe out right in your heart space. And what that means is that heart space kind of like opens up as you breathe into it. So let's do that again. Now ask your heart a question very simply. Listen for the answer. Isn't that cool? I hope you got your answer. I always do. I'm always so amazed because I think, oh, this is like on demand, but it works. It totally works. Okay, so here's something that Ben Decker wrote. This is what he said. I believe that through meditation, prayer, and consistent, sincere willingness, the human individual is supernaturally transformed into the extension of divine forces. I want to do this. So read that again. I believe that through meditation, prayer, and consistent willingness, the human individual is supernaturally transformed into an extension of divine forces. You know what I think? I actually believe we already are divine forces. And when we meditate, we step into that space more fully and tap into the power of the divine using this quantum field. That's what I think is happening. We are already divine forces. But what we do when we meditate is we tap into it and we access that deep pool of knowing and intelligence, universal Christ consciousness intelligence. When we meditate, I think that's what's happening. Okay. So when I'm telling you, like I'm going to tell you some of the things that actually happen to me when I'm meditating. I already did, like the dragon and whale and stuff. So okay, so I think of this maybe more as a journey. Like a journey is more of an exploration. So first you get into meditation, and then you eventually, depending on what you want, like maybe you just need to be still. But at some point in your meditation practice, your self is going to go to other places and meet beings and have experiences. So you might work with your higher self. That's very common. You might work with an ascended master who we consider like Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin. Archangel Michael, you might actually work with some of these beings and be able to tap into. They might pop in. Seriously, if you do a meditation and all of a sudden you feel like there's somebody there, you can say, "Who's there?" And they'll tell you, and you will just be surprised. I mean, it might be a relative, someone who's passed. Okay, you could work with other worldly beings, work with the animal matrix and spirit totems. So, like I said, dragons and whales, that's what come in mind. They're regularly, actually, I am that in my meditations oftentimes, which is awesome. You can explore different realms like Atlantis, Lemuria, star systems, the cosmos, different places on Earth. I'm not kidding. This is what happens. Sometimes happens. You can go back in time to your younger self, which we're going to do today. You can go to the future and learn from your higher self using the same technique we're talking about today. What we're doing is we're working with the quantum field when we meditate outside of time and space in the field of all possibilities. That's what we're tapping into when we meditate. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it took me so many years to actually figure this out. It is so fantastic. Okay, so guided journeying and guided meditation. I've been you can do it with sacred geometry where you start with an image and then you bring that image into yourself and meditate with that image, like the flower of life, the infinity symbol. It could be a tetrahedron. Each of these symbols reveals something different and has something like does something for us when we meditate with those symbols of sacred geometry. It's really neat. Okay, there's also this, it's a healing process called QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis therapy. So it is sort of like a trance meditation where a practitioner takes you through a kind of gets you into the space of hypnosis, except you're aware, which makes me feel like it's more of a journey because that's what happens on a journey as well. So the practitioner takes you to a place and usually about past lives, takes you to a past life. And so what happens is you get into this space and they kind of ask you questions and then you say what you're experiencing. And once you stop thinking, that's not possible, that's weird, it can't be true, and you actually start reporting what you're seeing and visualizing in your space, you get some pretty fantastic answers that actually make sense. They help you understand your behavior and your belief system and why you're afraid of things. It's pretty cool. That's a great journeying process. Like a shamanic journey is a fantastic experience, and that's a type of meditative journey. There's another process that I learned in the last couple of years called RIM, regenerating images in memory. And what that entails is me as a practitioner, whoever does it, takes you through a meditation, and then you go into your body to explore the energies that are like the blocks and limited behaviors and limited beliefs that are keeping you stuck. And so through these techniques, it helps us understand why we make decisions and maybe helps us unravel these decisions. So one time I was actually doing it, somebody was doing it with me, and they took me back to a time when I was 4. And I started off, the question for my meditation was, why do I feel like nobody hears me? So we went into this meditation and what came up was, I mean, it was so clear. It was like somebody just flipped on a movie in my mind. I could see it clearly. I was playing this game called Pom Pom Pull Away with my dad, who's a very big man, and all the like neighborhood kids. And so what it is there's one person in the middle, and then all the kids line up, and someone says, the middle person says, "Pom Pom Pull Away, come away, or I'll pull you away." And then everybody has to run to the other side and not get caught. Well, because my dad was like a football player and a wrestler, it wasn't like you got tagged, you got tackled. So I was 4. I was last man standing. And when in that process, I was tackled and I was in a dog pile under my dad, my brothers and sisters, and all the neighborhood kids. And I thought I was going to die. And I was laying there going, oh my God, I can't breathe. Nobody can hear me. Nobody can hear me, because you think about it, when you get into a dog pile like that, how hard, it takes a while for everybody to get up and everybody's laughing. Nobody could hear me. And oddly enough, that moment made me realize that that thinking started when I was 4. So knowing that helped me unravel that idea. Like, that's not a true idea for me now. It was an idea then. And that has kept me stuck in that idea that nobody hears me. Isn't that amazing? So that's how the power of meditation and guided meditation can actually help a person heal and change their behavior going forward. It's magnificent. Okay, so there's other meditations. You've probably heard of people doing meditation with um, mantras and like using a mala. So I have so many of these malas, and there are these beautiful malas made by Tibet imports, and so it's 108 beads, and these are semi-precious stones. Beautiful. Each of the malas is made with a different stone, which has its own sacred powers and energies. So what a person will do is say a mantra like Om Namah Shivaya or whatever, which for each of these beads, go around and do it for 108 times. It is it's stilling, it's refreshing, and each of your mantra would have some special meaning to you. It's beautiful. That's a great way to do it. You could do a walking meditation where you just, if you're walking by yourself and you're not listening to music, or perhaps you're listening to some kind of meditative music, that would be helpful too. But the idea is that you're just not actively thinking, you're just kind of daydreaming or walking and noticing. Running and exercising and getting to in the zone, that's sort of like a meditation. Daydreaming is a form too, where you just sitting there letting your mind kind of wander. Beautiful things come up when you're doing that. Driving alone with no music. Have you guys done that? Like, nobody does that anymore. I mean, almost never do I, because I'm always listening to something on the YouTube video or some podcast. But you know what happens when I'm driving by myself? It's almost like I have a conversation with my higher self when I'm driving with no music on or nothing playing in the background. And I get there and realize, holy cow, how did I get here? Because time goes so fast. Weirdly enough, when we don't listen to anything. Okay, mindfully creating with art, music, and crafting. Those things are meditative. There's so many things. Okay, so I kind of want to show this. Okay, I do want to show this. I'm going to share my screen because I want you to see how many different ways or reasons a person can meditate. These are the benefits of it: anti-aging, anxiety reduction, clarity and truth finding. Like I said, asking a hard question, codependency, confidence building. It can help with conscious awakening. It can help with depression, healing, and management, emotional self-regulation, finding purpose and meaning, fitness, increased focus, goal achievement and manifesting, good habit development. Oh gosh, what is that? There's a little thing in my way I can't even see. Uh-oh. Inflammation reduction, intuition and psychic development, metaphysical experiences. Like I said, when I become a dragon, that's pretty metaphysical. Increasing money and abundance. When you bring it into yourself and you celebrate yourself, the universe says yes, and here's more of that. That's going to bring abundance. That's going to bring a richer life to us, because we're bringing it into ourselves rather than giving it all away all the time. Optimal wellness, personal boundaries, good for that. Physical pain management promotes good sleep. It's good for sobriety and addiction recovery. Spiritual development, weight loss, connects you with other beings, and it connects you with your higher self. I mean, seriously, you guys, it is such a cool thing. We just need to do it more often. I just love it. Okay, when we meditate, we are practicing mindfulness. We are creating space between the observer and what arises in the mind. We're watching, like images come up, thoughts, phrases. But rather than engaging in those things and judging them, which is what we do, or reacting to them, we allow them and observe them. Typically, when you have a thought, you react to it. So the goal is to settle the energy and become aware of the impulse to react. What do you want to do? Breathe rather than do it. Notice what happens. Here's the reaction. I see you. I see you. And you know, like a little child when they're screaming and you just notice them and you like pay a little attention to them, pay a little attention, then they stop. Well, hopefully, most kids do. Same thing. Your mind is like screaming for your attention. And the minute you say, okay, it stops screaming. You're doing what it asked you to do and you're listening. It's so, so powerful. When we observe these ideas and become aware of our thoughts without judgment, it's so important because this initiates a change in our subconscious programming. It actually unravels the programming. So 95% of what we do is based on our subconscious, with our subconscious mind. 5% of what we do is conscious. Isn't that amazing? Mostly we run on autopilot. Now, this is a great thing most of the time. Like I said, you know, I'm driving to Fort Collins where my parents live, and the radio's not on, and I'm just having a conversation with myself and my higher self. And I realized, oh my God, I'm there. And I don't know how I got there because I wasn't paying attention. That's autopilot. I know that's a little scary. Stay off the roads. Becky's driving. Okay, so but it's all some of these programs are disempowering. Some of the subtle subconscious programming is disempowering, and so we we don't like this is something we need to pay attention to. Okay, so what controls the subconscious mind? It's the programming from parents, religion, media, friends, community, education, our ancestral lineage through our DNA, past lives, if you believe in that. It all affects our subconscious. It's all part of our programming. And when we meditate, we allow our mind to unravel the programming by observing it. When we observe, it loosens the grip it has on our behavior. Just like that pom pom pull away experience changed how I saw myself. Once I realized that's what was keeping me stuck in that idea, I could move forward and say, wow, it's not true. People do listen to me. I have something to say. And when I hold myself in that position of having something to say and people listen to me, that's what's going to happen because the universe is going to say yes. And here's more of that. Meditation can help us understand the difference between our truth and what is programming. So that's cool. Okay, so the goal of meditation really is self forgiveness and love. Okay, thoughts give us data based on past experiences, beliefs, and subconscious programming. We want to be so aware of our thoughts that we don't allow our inner critic to cut us down or impact our future because that's what it does. We want to notice the tapes that play in our head and keep us stuck in unhelpful behavior and limiting thoughts. The ultimate goal is forgiveness and to love ourselves, which makes it possible for us to then love others. Through meditation, we recognize our inner self. It doesn't take long before we start to notice how much we love ourselves when we take time to allow, witness, and interact with the deepest self. It leads to self-love. It really leads to self-love. It enables us to disengage in the delusional thinking patterns of our mind and open ourselves to a more contented and compassionate way of seeing others and ourselves. Okay, so what I would like to do right now is take you on a meditative journey, healing meditative journey. This is called the many use meditation. And this is where we intentionally go into our past and interact with our younger selves with the idea that we will heal or can heal our younger selves by giving information. Okay, so I want you to make sure you're comfortable and in a quiet space. It's not a super long thing. Maybe it'll take us 10 minutes. Just settle in, allow your body to sink into the space that you're sitting in as though it was made just for you. Take some deep breaths. In fact, take a big breath into your tummy area. And you know how you can pooch it out? Like really breathe in and push your stomach out like you got a basketball in your stomach. Breathe it all into your stomach. And then sigh it out. Do the same with your heart. Breathe into your heart, make it big, and then just breathe it out. Just let yourself settle in. Let yourself settle in. Again, notice where you are. Make sure you're comfortable. You can just allow your breath to just breathe normally. Make sure your eyes are closed and move your awareness into the core of your being. Take another breath in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. Once you feel ready, your imagination is going to bring about a moving walkway in front of you. With your eyes closed, in your mind's eye. These are the ones like at the airport, a moving walkway. In fact, it's at a little incline. So you can see that it moves up a little bit. Now imagine all along this walkway, there are a bunch of U's. Each one of these U's represent a significant moment in your life. And looking out on that moving walkway, you might see 10 U's. You might see 3. You might only see 1. These could be painful moments or glorious moments that they represent. There might be a lot, there might be 50. And they're going to be all at different ages, and they could be younger U's and they could be older U's, and that's okay. In fact, if you see older U's, like you're 30 and you see yourself at 50, know that she or he is there for you to talk to in the next session, when, like the next time you do this, looking for information in your future, because that's where you can find it. But right now, we're going to be going to the younger U's. Starting at the beginning of the very youngest you. I mean, sometimes that's when you were an infant. Maybe you were in your mother's womb and that's you. Maybe you were a toddler. Maybe you were 14. It doesn't matter. It's all perfect. That's what's so cool about it, because everybody has a different experience. Start at the beginning of your youngest self, the youngest one. Visualize your nowadays self walking up to your youngest self. Give yourself a giant hug and hold yourself in complete and total unconditional love. This is you. This is you when you were little. Knowing that you were doing the best you could do at the time with the information you had, at the age you were. The best you could, the best you could. Continue to hug this younger you and just stay in that embrace. Like way too long of a hug. You know what that's like. Just especially now, we don't even get to hug. Just hug yourself as long as you can. Whisper in your ear what you would have benefited from knowing or hearing at that moment. Might be, I'm sorry you had to go through that. You are a stronger person because of it. Or whatever you feel compelled to say to your younger self. If the moment was a great accomplishment or victory, recognize that and celebrate that. You might feel compelled to say, good job, I knew you could do it, or whatever you feel like you need to say to your younger self, because sometimes we did not get the recognition we needed at that time. Often we had no idea how important we were at that time or what was happening at that time. We just don't know how important that was. So just stay with yourself and speak into your ear what you needed to hear at that moment in your life. When this feels complete, move to the next you. Move to the next you, the next significant situation in your life. And again, say what needed to be said at the time. Do you need to give yourself some advice? Do you need to thank yourself for what you had, or forgive yourself for something? Whatever it is that you needed to hear at that age, allow it to be said. Go through all the yous, all the significant moments in your life, and hug and support all the younger yous who are just doing the best you could at the time. Just allow yourself to do that. We're gonna give ourselves about 5 minutes to continue this process. And the good thing is, after this, you can pull the same situation up. This meditation's actually a recording is on my website on my tools page, and you can listen to the same recording and do it again wherever you left off, or every time you do it, different yous will pop up. So I'm going to leave you in this. Go ahead to the next you, hug, hold an embrace, and say what needed to be said at that time. And I'll bring you back when it's time. So go ahead and bring yourself back. I'm sure you're not done, but this will, you can next time just stop the tape and just give yourself as much time as you need to, or you can go directly to the recording of this meditation on my website, beckyprater.com, on the tools page. It's called the Many Use Meditation. So there are the yous that you didn't get to, and they'll be there whenever you're ready. And then what's really cool is you can go to the yous that are older than you and go in and see if there's something you can learn from them. Maybe they have something to say to you when you're in that embrace and that hug. All right, so wiggle your fingers and your toes and sense your full return to the present. Take a moment to be grateful for what was expressed and experienced. And go ahead and open your eyes. See, isn't that neat? I mean, that's a meditation. And it's a, like, when you're guided through a meditation, your mind is definitely not monkeying around because it's doing something and it's taking you through and it's aware enough and it has enough of a job that it doesn't interfere with your ability to learn something and access that inner wisdom. So it's so cool. Okay, so here's what I want to say as parting words. And then you will meditate and your life will never be the same. Changes everything. So it is something that is such a precious gift to us to be able to do. You know your answers. They are inside of you and you can tap them through meditation. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, Becky@beckyprater.com. Um, Contact me on Facebook. It's just Becky Prater. And then I have a Becky Prater Every Woman is more like my business page. Please reach out. I would love to, I can take you through a RIM session, regenerating images memory, which is like where you really dive deep into your subconscious through imagery. It's so cool. I can totally do that for you. So let me know if I can help you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate your being here. Thank you.